The views expressed are solely those of the speaker, and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube, and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to post your comments about issues. And thanks to our friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we are syndicated across the United States into 12 million additional households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. Okay, we're having a little difficulty getting a hold of our guest today, John Perkins. He is MIA, but we're almost on top of it, I am being told. His people are tracking him down feverishly, even as we speak. So before we get to John Perkins, our guest, I want to bring Alan Jacey, our political correspondent and producer here, to join us here, because yesterday during this program we were too busy talking about the situation in Burma, and I didn't want to distract anybody's attention. But during this program, John Edwards, the former U.S. Senator and also the former candidate for President of the United States, Democratic candidate, he dropped out of the race in January, announced that he was endorsing Barack Obama. Now, Alan, since he made that announcement, Obama not only picked up the superdelegates that were previously committed to Edwards, but he's starting to pick up even more undeclared superdelegates. Now, on Tuesday, we have yet another set of primaries, two primaries, right, a pair of primaries. Kentucky, where Hillary Clinton is favored to win, and Obama in Oregon. Now, in the past, we were saying, well, if Hillary gets Kentucky and Obama gets Oregon, neither of them gains on the other, but does this endorsement and the number of delegates, superdelegates that Obama is now starting to pick up change that equation at all?
Gary, it's a good talking point for the Obama campaign. Again, Edwards was the number 3 guy in the dance, dropped out with limited support. The one thing that you have to remember is that he didn't help Kerry in any way in 2004. They didn't even carry North Carolina, which was the state that Edwards was the senator in. So while it's a good talking point, and again, it's important because Edwards is a known national figure and could have had the potential to be the vice president of the United States if Kerry had won in 2004. It's a question of what happens, what is the downside? Does he help carry North Carolina? Does he help carry South Carolina, where he was a native from? He was born in South Carolina and moved to North Carolina and became its senator. So, that's the big question. It didn't work in 2004. Will it work in 2008?
Okay, thank you for that very short but succinct interlude. It's time for us to introduce our guest, John Perkins. You know who he is. He is the economic hitman, and he wrote the best-selling New York Times best-selling book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. He's back with another book called The Secret History of the American Empire, where he goes into even more depth of what he says is the manipulation of the global economy by what he calls the corporateocracy of America. And he has suggestions here on what we can do to fight that. So with that short introduction, I welcome John Perkins to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gary. It's great to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you with us. You know, I have long said, and I haven't read the book, so I don't know whether you would agree or disagree with this statement. You know, we talk about these companies as American corporations. I have long said that they are multinational corporations. They are not like you and me, citizens of the United States, and in fact, they have no although the individuals running it may feel a loyalty to the United States of America, the corporations themselves do not have to be, nor are they necessarily loyal to the United States. In fact, I argue that most multinational corporations have but one loyalty. It's their fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders. Am I right about that?
Absolutely, you are. And it's a very important point, Gary. And I say the secret history of the American empire, mainly because it sort of started here. Most of those corporations, the majority of them, are headquartered here, but that's increasingly changing too, as we've seen with Halliburton, for example, moving to Dubai. You know, I think we're seeing an amazing world change, something comparable to what happened when the city-states became nation-states. Today, the nation-states are losing their importance. And we have these, huge nation-states rising up to compete with the United States, if you will: China, Russia, Japan, India. But at the same time, what's really happening, you might look at the globe today as 180 some odd countries, as it's been for a long time. But it used to be one or two or three of those countries had a lot of power, the Soviet Union, the United States. But today the power is really based on what we might visualize as huge clouds drifting around this planet. Then they don't know national borders. They don't listen to any particular laws. They use whatever helps them best. And these are the big corporations. And they truly are creating this new empire, which is on the scale of when the city-states became the nation-states. And today the nation-states are really losing their importance because these corporations will form alliances with China, Japan, India, Russia, the United States, whoever best suits them, and in fact usually form alliances with all of them.
Well, John Perkins, this isn't anything new. Go back to World War II, where Hughes bombers were used, that's General Motors, by the Nazis to drop bombs on Malta and on England.
It's been evolving, as you say, from the time of World War II, basically. And another amazing thing happened at the end of World War II. Eisenhower predicted it. He said up until now, and this was back in his last address as president, he said up until now we've been a country that made plowshares, and when we had to fight battles, those who made the plowshares, those companies, started making sabers. And he said, but for the first time in history, we're not going to see that happening this time, that they're not going to go back to just making plowshares. They're going to continue making sabers. And in fact, since that time on, we've seen this development of a vast military industry that's become worldwide. And, it's time we turn that around.